Calling from an 817 area code. Who's this? 817. Because they were contemplating Bolton a long time ago. It's just a mustache.
Sure. Well, I bet Ailson's been pushing for it for a long time too.
817 area code.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. It's going great. What's on your mind?
My name is Matthew. I'm in North Dakota, originally from Texas. I am calling because, I wanted to talk about a couple things, hopefully quickly. So, are you familiar with the Atheist Experience show at all?
I am not.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, it's been around for a little while. I don't know if it's been around as long as y'all's show, but it's a call-in show, much like y'all's. And I called in there a couple years ago whenever the Sam Harris, Noam Chomsky thing first happened, the email exchange. And I asked them the question about
the email exchange
political and religious.
that Chomsky specifically said, I'd rather you not release, and then Sam Harris went on to release so that he could show that he was actually having a conversation with Noam Chomsky. But go ahead.
Yes, and I'm of the opinion that Sam Harris misrepresented Noam Chomsky quite a bit, saying that he did not, talk about states' intentions when they are attacking other countries. When in fact, Noam Chomsky in the email exchange explicitly stated ways in which you could describe their intentions and find evidence of their intentions, which was ignored. But I asked the question about political and religious violence. Basically, how do you differentiate? How does Sam Harris or any one of those types of people differentiate political and religious violence? When is it the fault of the state that is attacking another country, and when is it the fault of an ideology that is perpetrating violence? And I wanted to see if you had any opinion or answer as to that question.
As to when, how do you disaggregate the state from a religious ideology in terms of the violence they commit?
Right, I know they often go hand in hand, which was the answer that I got from the Atheist Experience. If anybody's interested in that show.
They don't.
Yeah, essentially.
They don't. I think what's going on with Saudi Arabia right now is a perfect example of this. And I would say, I don't think there was anything. What was the Muslim Brotherhood?
We're running Egypt. You're talking about how the Saudis helped dislodge the Muslim Brotherhood to get a military secular dictatorship back in Egypt.
No, I'm talking about how right now what's going on with the Saudi Arabians in terms of you're liberalizing some of their interpretation of Islamic law when it comes to women, but they're not. It's actually the violence that state is has not diminished domestically in any significant way.
Not internationally.
They're ramping it up
either.
Internationally.
Yeah, guys, the problem with people in this scene too often is that they just don't understand politics. They
don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, and then religion is usually like a afterthought or something that can be used to justify a pre-existing policy intention.
I'm into historical materialism, right? I think the underlying material conditions and the politics usually take precedence over any kind of social or cultural force. That said, religion has been used in extremely powerful and damaging ways by people in power for centuries.
Well, the issue isn't whether or not religion's used.
Right,
the issue is whether or not religion is the catalyst and the primary driver of these things, and it's far more often used as an excuse.
It's a second order thing, and there's a whole cottage industry of people who, ironically, they don't have a materialist or empirical view. They have a completely ideational view. They literally think that people's belief systems and ideologies precede their material conditions and actually set policy and set conditions. And that's not how the world works.
I have no doubt that there was a time where religion drove certain things. I would imagine a certain amount of, And I have no doubt that on some level it plays in. Like, were Europeans imperialist? Specifically because of their Christian beliefs. Not necessarily. I think it was more of a cover. I think it was like, I want to make money.
That's the story you have to tell if you're going to go enslave and murder,
exactly.
whether it's scientific or religious. But I think
probably, like, if we're talking like maybe, 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, but even then, who knows? Like, I mean, we're it's Passover, so I'm a little bit, Jews in Egypt centric right now. But were they, how much of that was religious and how much of that was like, what, we need to build some shit here, and who better to enslave than this minority, this ethnic minority?
Right.
It's not because that they pray to one God and we're polytheists. It's that. They're an ethnic minority, and people we can enslave them. I mean, so I think there's probably incidents, localized incidents, but when you start to talk about like states functioning and the use of religion, I think that's the key. They're using religion. Religion is not the impetus.
Right, and also the last point I'd make is like if you wanted to look at a specific area where religion, like a certain deployment of religion, could specifically really harm people, like as an example, women's rights in many places. That's a very distinct, even that I would still politicize and not look at primarily ideologically, but the implications of those beliefs in people's cultural practices is a lot more relevant than trying to figure out geopolitics.
Appreciate the phone call.
Yeah. Thank you.